All right. Here we go. Hi, folks. It's been a while, I know. So I'm sitting not in my office right now. So I have my iPhone as the camera, my monitor here. So I'm gonna look here because I have some script written here. So I'm gonna be looking here. All right. So today I came across a video by WebDev Cody on YouTube. In this video, he solves a React problem, which was sent to him by one of his subscribers. Now, the problem was for a junior React dev position, and I thought it'd be fun. It'd be fun to tackle this problem with Angular. So that's what we're going to do today, and we're doing it live from scratch. So this video might be long. I don't know. I'm gonna cut like generating a new Angular application and all of that out, but the rest is I'm just gonna wing it. Now I did skim through the video by WebDev Cody, so I have some context beforehand, but I have not attempted this before. So again, we're doing it blind. But I'm gonna link. I will link WebDev Cody's video in the description down below, so y'all can go watch it after this video, of course. All right, so let's get started. Well, we're gonna start with generating a new Angular application. I will do the Angular CLI, so it's gonna be that. I typed this out before because it's so long, so I typed this out. So I want minimal flag, no test, none of that extra files. I don't remember what defaults does, but I have it in my command history, so I just use it. I want this to be a standalone application. I want to use pnpm for my package manager, and I don't want routing. In Angular 17, Angular CLI 17, they set up a route Angular application by default. I don't want any route because I don't think this app has any route, but so I'm gonna set routing to false so it doesn't set up all router outlet, all of that stuff for me, which I'm gonna delete anyway. So when we have that, so let this run. I'm gonna cut this out. All right, the first thing I'm gonna install a couple of things that make my life easier, which is Tailwind and Prettier. Right. So next is I'm gonna init Tailwind, and then I'm gonna go here, change it to CommonJS, for Angular, it's gonna be source everything HTML TS. Next is my Prettier config. I want a single quote to true. I want use tab true. I want bring width. Actually, let's keep it 80 for this video. Ignore, and then plugins is Prettier, organize import, and Tailwind. So with that, I'm gonna quickly run Prettier. So that is done. That's initial commit. All right, so now we're in here. Let's serve the application. It's there. Welcome to NG Country Capital. Let's go. So let's set up Tailwind real quick. So it's gonna be Tailwind base, components, and utility. Save that. Go back here. Tailwind kicks in. Great. All right, let's create a game.md. Let's put it in. Now, let's go through it. All right, so in the game or the project, the player needs to match a country to its capital by clicking on appropriate buttons. So it's like a matching game. 1. Your component should receive a data property in the following format: an object with the correct answers. The value of each key is the capital of the country. So this is gonna have an input. This is the component. We're gonna have an input where the key, which is an object, where the keys are the countries, and the values are the matching capitals. All right. So I'm gonna copy this for now. I'm gonna go back to my app component. I'm gonna say protected data to be that. Now I want to change this to something that I can read or pronounce. I'm gonna say Vietnam and Hanoi. That's where I'm from. I want to remove that. I'm gonna remove that. Cool. Actually remove that as well. This as well. So it's saying we need a component, right? That's my components, country, capital, game, component, selector, app, country, capital, games, standalone, true, inline template, chain detection. There we go. It needs an input, right? Required true. It's gonna be data, record, string. All right. Let's actually just render the data. Why not? Just render the data. All right. Now, so what's going on here? So we create an Angular component. I created it by hand. You can use the Angular CLI to generate your component if you like. I'm using standalone. Modules. I'm using inline template. You can have template URL pointing to an HTML file if you like. I just like when I create like videos like this or in small projects, I prefer inline template. And this component has an input, and I set it to required input. So this accepts an input called data, and it is a record string, which is an object, right? Now for inputs in Angular, if you don't give it a default value, then TypeScript is going to complain. It's saying, hey, property data has no initializer. And this is true because it's saying, well, you're saying data is a record string, but you don't initialize it, and you might use it, which means it might be undefined. You're going to have to say it's undefined. But if you say it's a record string, then you have to tell TypeScript to say, don't worry about it. It will be set before I use it, I know. So this tells TypeScript that you know better. But for things that you can give it sensible defaults for, like a record or like an array, for empty array, right? Give it a default. So for this one, I'll give it an empty object. Now, in some cases that you might have null values, and null, you can interpret null a little bit different than an empty object. That really depends on the logic of your application. Same as empty array. To me, empty array means empty array, and it means nothing in that array. It should not be null. Things like that. For string, empty string works fine. Numbers really depends. It could be 0. It could be -1. Depends on what that number does. Now for Boolean, I usually don't give Boolean default values. It's hard to give a Boolean default values. So that's it. That's my take on the inputs. All right. So with this, let's go back to app component and start using it. All right. So we call it app country capital game. We can use the LSP or language server to import it, and already the language server tell us that, oh, this component needs a required input. Yay! Excuse me. All right, so now we have that. Let's go back to the app. Oh, of course. Okay, we don't do that yet. So let's do JSON pipe. Huh? There's no JSON pipe. You must be kidding me. Save. Yay! Right now we have that. We have that in the component. Let's go back to the requirement. So that's the first one. It's done. We have the component. The component accepts some input. We know that it accepts that input, and so we can render it. Right. Next is a button should be displayed for each country and each capital. So the example above would render buttons Germany, Berlin, that, and that. So Vietnam and Hanoi. So basically, for each pair of country capital, we render 2 buttons, one for the country and one for the capital. So now we have to change or transform that data, the input, into some form that we can use, right? So into like an array forms. Of ways that you can do this. Couple of ways you can do this. Let's see. Right. I mean, it's a little bit tricky because we know for sure signal-based component in Angular is coming, in which we have signal-based inputs. So right now this is just an input. There's no signal related to this input. But later on we might have a signal input, which is going to help a lot because it's reactive. And I want to be reactive. I want reactivity. So what I want to do is I want to create a signal, right? And this is going to start out with an empty array, and it say this is a never. So I'm going to give this an any array. So this is my records, and from this data, I'm going to have to do something with this data and then update this signal. So what you can do is we actually can use ng on init. So we can use ng on init, can use ng on changes, which is probably the more correct way to update based on inputs, right? Or we can use after next render. This is like a new lifecycle hooks. Yeah, we can use any of these three, or we can use set input, right? When this change, that set input is going to be invoked, and we can update the records array. That's what I'm going to use. Actually, there's another way. Transform input. So in later version, I think Angular 15 or Angular 16, input now have a transform field which you can transform this into something. Right, but I still want the signal though, so I don't see that transform has any does anything better than the setter input. So I'm just gonna use the setter input. So it's gonna be that. It's gonna be that. Let's remove this. So now we have that data. What do we want to do with this data? We can use. I know that I want to do object.entry because this gives me both the country and the capital at once. So I want to do that because, so this is the matching game, right? I'm thinking that we can store, or we can basically predetermine the match because we have country and capital. We have the answers already in the input, right? So we have the pair already. So if we construct a data structure with this kind of like winning condition ahead of time, I think is a little bit better. Then later on, we have to do some logic, some iteration to look for the correct one, right? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use object.entries. You can use reduce to turn it to something else, but for this case, I think I'm just going to use a for loop. So I'm gonna set up a records, any array, and then we'll do a for loop, right? And then outside of this, I'm gonna do this dot records plus set records. That's pretty much it. Now inside of here, we do a cons country capital of object dot entries with data. So we're gonna push now. I don't know. Let's say content is country, and then we say pair with capital. So this is our winning condition. We want the content of the which is the country, and then we want to pair that country with the capital. And we're gonna do the same thing with the capital as the content, and then we pair with the country. So here we set up the winning condition beforehand, and then we push that to the records. Now we want to render buttons. Angular 17 has a new control flow, so like ng4 and ngif, all of that are still there, but requires you to import common module or import the standalone version of those directive. Built-in control flow is part of the Angular template syntax. You don't have to do anything. The Angular compiler is going to figure out and does the right thing for you. So we're going to use the control flow with the for control flow, or for block. They call it block. So it's going to be record of records. And with the for block, the track by is required. So I'm going to track by record, which is track by reference. You can also track by ID if you have an ID, or you can also track by index if you want. I'm going to just track by record. Now inside of here we will render button, right? And we want to render with the content. I'm gonna style this button. Let's just look, and then we style later. There we go. That's our buttons. But Tailwind doesn't have any style, so let's just style it. PS4, PY2, routed, background. I want a gray. It's like 100. Text black. Let's see. There we go. Oh, it's too subtle. Maybe 200. Yeah, a little bit better. I kind of want to have like a background though. So we'll wrap this inside the div class. I want this like a grid with cost of 6. Justify center. Justify item center. I want a gap 4 between all of these buttons. There's a gap. I want a padding as well. All right, there we go. So let's look at this. Okay, I want this div to take up the height and width of the viewport. So let's do that. So this is edge screen and width screen. There we go. Oh, and I want the background to be gray, maybe 900. There we go. So now we have the buttons. Great. That's the second requirements done. Next, the buttons should be displayed in random order. Okay, so we have to randomize these records. The naive way to randomize something is to use the sort method, and then you can return a math.random minus 0.5. So sort, the sort function or compare function expects a negative number, a positive number, or 0. To do the sort, like switch place, which one is in front of the other, or keep the order as is. So 0, negative number, or positive number. Now math.random minus 0.5 gives you exactly that. So it can be 0, can be negative, can be positive in random. So that is what we want to do, record sort. So back here, if I refresh, you can see that the buttons are like kind of like jumping around a little bit, so they get randomized. All right, so that's the third argument. Fourth argument, clicking a button should set its background color to blue. Okay, so when we click something, we need to change that to blue. So basically, it is like a selected, right? We want to have something selected. So let's do that. So let's keep track of a selected signal. Just no for now, right? It's gonna be any or no. The any we're gonna kind of like change the type later. But actually, let's do that right now because we kind of have an idea of what it's look like. So it's gonna be capital record. It's gonna be content of string pair width of string, right? It's gonna be record. That save. All right, so now let's check. There we go. So now we have IntelliSense. All right, so selected. So for selected, I do on click. All right, click, and really easy. We just do selected dot set. On click, we will set. Oh, not here. Here. There we go. So on click, we will set the record to the selected signal, and then we can also do a class binding. So we do blue what 200. So now we give this a condition or an expression that that can be evaluated to truthy. Then this class will be applied to the element. Pretty cool. I think this is pretty good. So we have selected. We'll say content equal to the record.content. Then we have the selected, right? What? Which one? Oh, of course, that, right? Okay, because selected can be null. That is correct. Right, so when this happened, let's see. There we go. There we go. Aha, sweet, sweet. All right, so that's the fourth requirement. Next, clicking another button should remove both buttons if a correct country and capital pair has been selected. Okay, so when we click a button, right, we have it selected, and then we can click another one, and if that new one matches with the selected, then we remove the selected, and then we remove the one, the pair inside of the records. All right, so let's try that. So with this requirement, we cannot inline this anymore, but we have an on click and we pass in the record. So go down here, let's remove that, say on click, and we have the record of country capital record. So now we have the record. First of all, if we're gonna check this dot selected, actually I want con selected. You know what? If this dot selected, if we don't have this, then we will set this and just return dot set. Right? Out of here, then we know for sure that we have the selected. Then what we want to do is we want to check if the selected at this one, I still know. This cannot. Let's do this, right? There's no selected record, and at here we have the selected record. So here TypeScript is correct. So if the selected record content, not content, pair with equals to the, so we want to pair, right, the pair that's selected with the content of the record coming in. So we do record.content. If this is the case, then we will remove both from the records array. So let's do that. This.records dot update. I have a list dot filter item. So what we want to filter, we want to filter this content is not equal to selected record content, and item content is not equal to record content. So we remove both of them with this. Since these are all string, I think we can use a little trick, includes trick. So we say record.content, selected record.content.includes item.content, and then we negate this one. So that is the same. It's on the new line, so I just do this. I only keep it on one line or without implicit return if they can be on one line. If not, just explicit return. So if this is the case, then we return them both. So let's test this one. So we have Vietnam, Hanoi, that's gone. Germany, oh no. We need to nullify. So you can see that right now we cannot click anymore. We cannot select it anymore because of this. So what we can do is that we need to nullify the record as well, the selected record as well. So we set this back to null. Right, so Hanoi, Vietnam, Berlin. There we go. We pick Hanoi first. Earlier, we want to pick Vietnam and then check with Hanoi, Germany with Berlin. So basically, picking country first and picking capital first both work. So that worked. Right. So what next? So that's done. Next, let's set the background color of both. So this is the case where it doesn't match, right? Where it doesn't match. So set the background color of both buttons to red. So, okay. So if it doesn't match, so let's do, actually let's just early return because we're in a different case now. Now, if it doesn't match, so at this point we know that it doesn't match. We want to we want to basically set up like a wrong pairs kinda. So how do we want to do this? So let's try to set up the condition first to see. So when they wrong, we want to set the button to red. But then what condition? Here we have the record content. So what if we keep track of a map of the wrong pairs, and then we can do this like wrong pair. Right? If it exists inside of this map, then it's wrong. So let's do that. So we have another signal, wrong pairs. Just do pair, I think. Signal. It's just gonna be a record string boolean, and I'm gonna keep this that. Right? So that's the wrong pair. Now, when this happened, then the wrong pair set to be the selected record content true, and the record content also true. So this is when it's wrong, and we also need to notify. We also need to notify the selected, not wrong pairs, but wrong pair. And because we say this, that. There we go. Save. Let's see. So we have Vietnam, Germany. That's correct. Click. Oh, we need to clear. We need to clear, because at this point, when we have the wrong pair, the next time that we click, we need to clear out this wrong pair, right? But right now we have the wrong pair, and we like satisfy the requirement. So let's like take that one off, right? So wrong pair has been selected. So we change the color of the button to red. That's done. So now number 5 is done. Now 6. Assuming the previous selected pair, the previously selected pair was wrong, clicking another button should restore the default. So when we click next button, the wrong pair should be gone, right? That's what we said. That's what we said, and then the selected gets selected back. All right, so let's do that. So here, if the next if the next click we don't have the selected record, then we're going to set the selected, and we also set the wrong pair back to an empty pair, right? An empty object. Okay, so let's try this. That's wrong. Click another one. That's wrong. Click another one. That's wrong. Let's click on Vietnam. That's wrong. Hanoi, Vietnam. It works. All right, back to the game. So that number 6 is done. 7. When there are no buttons left, display a message. Congratulations. So this is our winning message. Winning message, and it's based on, let's say, what does it say? When there are no buttons left. So basically, when our records is empty, then we can set up the winning condition. So here I will have a protected is won or has won condition. Is it's going to be a computed, and it will be computed with the records length. When the records length is 0, then has won is done. Right. So with that, I'm going to go in here. I'm going to say if another control built-in control flow, if has won, then it will display a code. Congratulations code. It's a like code. You can do span if you like, but it's like code. Save that. Germany, Berlin, Vietnam, Hanoi. Congratulations. Oh, it's a class text Y. Berlin, Germany, Hanoi, Vietnam. There we go. Congratulations. I kind of want to style that a little bit. I want to bring this to the center and make it bigger a little bit. So we're inside of a 6 columns grid. So this one is in the first column. I want it to start from the 3rd column and span 2 columns and make it a little bit bigger. All right, so let's do that. So we have what? Call span 2, call start 3, text center, text XL. How about that? All right, so with Germany, final Vietnam. There we go. Congratulations. So that is done. So number 8, export. Yes, we already exported. All right, so this is our code. Not bad, huh? I mean, we can. Another way to approach this is that we can also store the state of the record in here. So we have like initial state, and then we have selected state, and we also can have like a wrong state, right? So we can do this as well, but this is fine. I mean, you can go for it. You can like use a different like data structure, how you want to set up this problem. I think this problem is fun, is simple enough to kind of like know a little bit of like programming logic, right? Programming logic and data structure, how you construct the data, rendered, list rendering, and all of that. And yeah, what would you do different? I mean, another thing is I actually noticed that. So my component, this is like maybe like tips and tricks, doesn't have anything to do with the problem, but I noticed that my component has like a top level div, and it's wrapped the entire template of this component. So what you can do is really this depends on how you structure or how you write your component or how you want your component to look like. And this you want this to be consistent across the application as well. You can have like a top level wrapper div like this one, and then the rest of the applications, like every component, kind of have to go in this way, except it cannot, right? Like based on the CSS structure, like flex grid and all that stuff. But in this case, what I can do is I can use the component tag, the element, like the tag element that Angular creates to be the wrapper div. So you can have a host, and then on that host you can use a class and paste in that whole Tailwind class, and now you can remove the div entirely. And now your component has a little bit less indentation and everything acts the same. Now your like component element is that div with all of the style, right? And that's the everything inside of it. Yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. I mean, so what's next? Like, what can you expand? First, you can try different data structure for this one. You can kind of have the button to be its own state, right? So like these can be the internal state of the button if you like. Next would be to try to fetch this data, like countries and capitals data, from like an external source. That is up to you how you want to do it. You can use different style, right? Make this like, instead of button, make this card with the image of that, or like the flag for the country and the image of the capital for the capital. I think like this is like there's a lot of ways to expand on. For example, if you give this problem to a junior engineer as like a take home or an interview, and you give them like a time box like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and like that's it. That's all you have. You don't have to finish everything, but that's all you have. And then in the interview, you can go over this problem with the candidate and expand on what would they do next, or what would they do differently if they had more time. Things like that, I think, is a good problem to expand on. Not too hard, but good enough. All right. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.